Good day, good day, good day. It's Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused wealth coach. How are you doing today? Today, we're going to be talking about lifestyle equation. And, the truth is, most people chase money, and the wealthy chase lifestyle. And until you know the difference between the two, you're going to work harder than you need to. You're going to stress more than you really should. And you're going to live a life much smaller than the one that's desired for you. So if you want to change the way that the outcome's going to shift in your life, you need to stick around and check me on the inside as we talk about your lifestyle and equation and how the wealthy buy freedom instead of stuff. Hey, I'm Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused wealth coach, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Come on and join me. Hey, good day, good day, good day. It's Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused wealth coach. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Man, another week has gone by. And here we are. We're talking about all the things that you really want to know and what wealthy people do, what lifestyle focused wealth is all about. Is we're talking about what millionaires and billionaires do. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about your lifestyle, how you can mimic the wealthy by starting to focus on buying freedom instead of buying stuff, buying stuff. And what does that really mean in your world today? So I'm glad that you've joined us. We're going to jump right on into it. And if you would, your price of admission is right below. Go ahead and click the button, share this with your friend. Go ahead and subscribe to us. It helps us in the algorithm, and it gives us the opportunity to give you more content like this one. And let everybody know that you're part of our lifestyle focused wealth community, okay? But let me ask you a question. Just go ahead and get started, and we're going to jump right in because I think we don't need to wait any longer. Have you had a situation where you've ever felt trapped by your income? I want to know if you have had a situation in life where you feel trapped by your income. We need to talk about that today. As normal, I always give 5 points and 5 pain points and 5 solutions to most of the things that we talk about here at Lifestyle Focus Well. So these are just some of the things that we want to discuss because these are the things that I personally, I think about behind the scenes. Income is the slowest path to freedom. We need to talk about that because a lot of us are chasing income and not realizing that that's not creating freedom. It's slowing you down. And wealthy people don't earn lifestyle. They access it. And how do you do that? Where do you get access? So our portfolios, our credit lines, our trust-owned assets that we create, those are optionalities that we can actually just focus on and start to concentrate on. And then your income becomes optional. It really does. And what I mean by that, somebody out there is probably thinking, what do you mean by your income becomes optional? It becomes optional when your structure becomes functional. Once you put this function in order and it starts to function like it's supposed to, that structure starts to work for you. Then number 2, we're going to be talking about, the number 2 pain point that I want to address today is for those of you that feel like this, go ahead and put us in the chat. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up. I'm working harder, but not living better. Or if you're feeling like you're working harder, but not feeling better or not living better, let me know. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Put it in the chat. We always got room for you to put it in the chat because here's the reason. I'm asking these questions because today's world is about the hustle culture. And that hustle culture is truly a trap. It's a storage culture If you can switch to a storage culture, that's an upgrade. And we don't talk about that very often. We're not having the deep discussions about storing. You've heard me say many times before that, we don't have a wealth problem. We're already rich. We have a storage problem, right? If we're not storing our money, if we're not learning how to properly store, we're running a rat race. We're in the trap. We're part of the trap, right? So we don't want to do that any longer. So, because, when we have these conversations offline, wealthy don't save. The wealthy just don't save money. That's not what they do. They don't do it. They store their assets, and they store their assets that produce access. The lifestyle that they're looking for, the lifestyle that they want, is all funded by structure, not sweat. And we're going to talk about how you can learn these things and what are the talking points that you should be having with your friends. I'm starting to realize that the people that you're around, the circle of people that you're around, if you can't have these conversations, then maybe your conversation is very surface level. And if you want to engage in deeper, more meaningful types of relationships with your circle of people, start having these deep conversations about wealth and how they perceive wealth and what wealth really means. And it starts to open up a whole new awakening of ideas of what you see today and view today as wealth and what you've been programmed to think about as well. Our number 3 path today we're going to talk about is if you can't see a path to the life you want, maybe we need to create a different path for ourselves, right? We might want a structure that creates some stability in our lives. We're going to talk about having access to the opportunities and the lifestyle, if it's a natural byproduct of what you're doing, or is most people around you who help to try to build a lifestyle first and collapse under pressure. Are you that person? Because some of us don't have a blueprint. Some of us don't have a roadmap. And our ideas may come to a fork in the road where you're going to have to make a decision, and sometimes maybe even go backwards to the fork in the road and go a different direction just because you didn't have the foresight to look further on down the path. If your lifestyle is not matching with the life you really want, it's okay to put it in reverse, pivot, and go the other way. And I don't think we have that conversation. Most people think you just got to go straight ahead, but we're going to talk about why that is important to talk about today, right? And our number 4 pain point today, if you're a person that thinks like this, I'm afraid to spend because I don't feel secure. Man, I can't wait to talk about this with you. Why? Because we're going to be addressing some of the issues in the room. Because fear becomes, and where fear comes from your fragility, the way that you think, it keeps you structured. So, but if you start thinking about structure, that removes that fragility away from you and replaces it with predictability. Now you've created a lane that's much more vast. You're not in that little bitty piece anymore, right? I almost dropped the ball because I wanted to give it to you. I wanted to give it to you early. I'm not going to do that. You're going to have to stick around for it, right? You're going to have to stick around for it. I just get excited when I'm talking to you guys because it's been a long week. And a lot of things have just come to my mind that, we want to always share. But before I get started here, I want to make sure you do me a favor. At the end of our podcast today, be sure you go to the bottom and look at our descriptions and sign up for our bi-weekly email. And if you can get on our email system, please do it. Please do it. Well, here's why. It's got some wonderful articles, travel, recipes, and much, much more. It's absolutely free to you for being part of our lifestyle focused wealth community. And we want you to be a part of it. We want you to be around and we want you to enjoy the benefits of what we're doing here, right? That's what we want. We just want you to be a part. And if you could go ahead and do that, I think you'll find some true value in it, right? And I'm going to offer for you guys to join our lifestyle focused wealth community. It's only $16 a month when you join and pay the annual subscription. And what do you get? You get access to people like myself, others that are doing the same thing. And then we start to talk about what that life looks like. Get discounts on our coaching platforms, on our retreats, all the things that we're doing. Just become part of a membership, and then meet other professionals that are thinking the way that you're thinking. I really like how our network is working right now, and I really like how things have started to shake out. So if you need a little bit of one-on-one coaching on how you want to build your platform, please just contact us. You can reach me at roncojohnson.com. Really simple to do, okay? But let me talk about our fourth one. Again. If we're talking about I am afraid because I don't feel secure, here's what's up. When your assets fund your lifestyle, spending becomes strategic. It just simply does. Wealthy people don't cut back. They design forward. It's a whole different reality shift where you can start thinking like the wealthy, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. And our fifth topic of the day, if you're tired of surviving and you want to live, that's a pain point that most Americans share, right? A lifestyle that is not a reward, but it's a system. We have to talk about how to take that lifestyle that you want, not just to reward yourself with a vacation, but make it a system where it becomes your everyday life. You deserve the best. You deserve the absolute best. So if your life, if you figure out that your life should be funded by assets, not funded by your effort, you start thinking about things a little bit differently. You know, I was sharing this story. Let me share a little story with you for a moment. I was having a conversation with my daughter the other day, and it was something that's very simple, that her roommate was moving out and that she needed to look for a new place and to pay the other half of the rent. And I asked her very simply, I said, hey, have you been putting your money away in the storage in the right places that we're talking about? I said, have you ever considered that, you know, if you got a nice little 2-bedroom and where she lives, it's pretty expensive. And it's actually probably better to have a 2-bedroom than it is to have a 1-bedroom. And my thought was, have you looked at your storage? Have you looked at your money and your assets to see if it's capable of funding the other half of your rent? See, where you're thinking you have to go out and get another job, that may not be necessarily the truth. You may not have to go out and go get another job. You may already have the funds that are working for you as if it were another person. When you start to think of that, you start building these wealth ecosystems, if you will, that can pay for those experiences, such as travel, such as larger apartments or homes that you can buy that create more asset. And then once you start to figure that out, this is where the shift and the transformation begins, because freedom is engineered at that point. You just engineered your freedom. You didn't just earn it. You earn it off of hard labor and laboring through it. Well, that's what we were taught. But, you know, again, keeping it on a third grade level, my daughter likes coffee. I can't drink coffee. But if you could make enough money a day to buy your favorite coffee, if you earned enough money in interest and dividends and your assets every single day, that you could buy at least one cup of coffee, then you would easily see what I mean. By storing the lion's share of your money and allowing your money to make more money or make money babies, if you will, take your money, $1, and make it create $4 more or $9 more, as you've heard me say in the past. Guess what? That's like coffee every single day. And you didn't have to work any harder. All you have to do is start understanding why I'm building this system that can help me fund the things that I want, my lifestyle, with my assets, not my effort. And then I get rewarded all the time, not some of the time. It's a system, and you can be taught, and you can be taught this system. So I can't wait to get into it today. We're going to be digging into this. If this is making comments or if this is making sense to you, if it resonates with you, please let us know. Then just say hello and put it in the comments and send us a DM, and we will definitely talk more about it. But first, before we get started, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come right back and we're going to get right into it. All right? I'll see you in a moment. Hey, join our Lifestyle Focused Wealth community. Membership's starting at $16 a month when you pay the annual subscription. So register online today at www.lifestylefocusedwealth.com. Hey, it's Ronco Johnson, your Lifestyle Focused Wealth Coach. Guess what? We're here. We're talking about freedom instead of stuff. Freedom instead of stuff. You know, when we talked about income is the slowest path to freedom, most people think income is the engine of the lifestyle, but it's really not. Income is the weakest and the slowest tool in the wealth system. Because when you break it down, the deep breakdown, when you go through it all, right, you start finding out that income is taxed the hardest. Income is also inconsistent and emotionally draining. And then you also find out that income requires constant effort on your part. Oh, my goodness. But we want more of this? Income creates a ceiling on your lifestyle because it's tied to time. It's simply tied to time. So let me offer you a mind shift here that you want to think about. See, the wealthy don't really rely on income. They rely on access. Income is just a tool. Access is really where your superpower lies. You know, that's where it is. When you really think about it, let me give you another idea here, just something that you can think about. If income is your only engine of money, you're driving a Ferrari with a parking brake on. I need you to think about that for a second. Why would you drive a Ferrari with a parking brake on? You wouldn't. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So we have to start thinking about things a little bit differently, right? You heard me say earlier, wealthy people don't earn a lifestyle. They don't. They access it. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's a different way of thinking. This is the part that breaks down how people's brains work. It's a little different because wealthy people use credit lines, equity lines, they use insurance policies, and access to capital to fund their lifestyle. They don't wait for a paycheck, Friday to next Friday or week to week. They pull from their stored value. And you hear me talk about it week after week after week. You don't have a money problem. You have a storage problem. And when we sit down in our lifestyle focused one-on-one groups and our challenges and our masterminds, really what we're talking about now is reshaping the way you think and how you store your money. Because at that point, you're acting a little bit differently and you start to see that the wealthy don't just save up, they access down. So you're saving up and they're accessing down. I know for me, that was one of the biggest mind shifts for me is understanding that lifestyle is not purchased with income, but lifestyle is accessed through structure. And if you do it right, you'll start to see that things get easier and easier. The things that you're most afraid of are probably the things you should be doing because the wealthy don't buy lifestyle, they unlock it. And when they unlock it, they got the key. They can unlock it and they can lock it back. They have all the control, right? So when we're talking about corporate lines of credit, when we're talking about trust owned properties and assets and having the option, what are we really talking about here? I like the idea of creating optionality. If you like the idea of having optionality, let me know. Because this is where the expertise shines, right? This is where it always shines. If I do a deep dive into thinking about this, people who own corporate owned lines of credit, they turn their real estate into revolving lifestyle engines, things that they can just use over and over and over again. They're not limited to $2,000 to $5,000. They have portfolio credit lines that turn investments into liquidity without selling it. Can you imagine having 1,000 shares of your favorite stock and have access to the capital without selling it? These are the details that we're talking about because it allows the money to keep on growing. When you have trust owned assets that create tax efficient access, access, right? I can't speak today. Um, and it provides protection. You start understanding that you don't need to own everything, but you need to control everything. If you have control of the trust, you have access to what's in it and the protections it provides. That's optionality. That's what we're talking about. Optionality equals that freedom. The mind shift that I'm going to ask you to think about is that if your lifestyle should be funded by what you own, not what you earn. And some of us are waiting to own. We're waiting. When we should be thinking about if I own this certain thing, my lifestyle should be funded by what you own. Because if you don't own anything, you don't get anything back. You don't get anything in return, right? So I want you to just have a focus on understanding that when your assets pay for your life, you can stop asking. You can stop asking, can I? If there are words that start with the words, can I afford to go on vacation? Can I get this shirt? Can we go out to dinner? And you start saying, when do I want to do it? When I shift from can I to when do I want to do said thing, it's a powerful clause. It's a powerful clause because can I go on a vacation? Or I'm planning to go on next month. I'm planning to take 2 weeks off. That's because you've had storage. You've had time. See, you're not asking for permission. You're accessing your storage to plan down. I hope that I'm making this very clear so that you understand today. Because when your income becomes optional and when your structure becomes functional, you've heard me mention it earlier. This is where everybody wants to be. This is the dream everyone wants to live. This is what everyone secretly wants. They want that structure to function. They want it to function. Some people are looking for people to function or work for them and make them money, and they live this lifestyle. Well, suppose I told you didn't have to depend on people at all. You didn't have to depend on people at all. And if you were just to shift the way that you're thinking just a little bit, you can start seeing that the functional structure equals predictable access. If I put this away, I'm always going to have X. If I put this away, I can predict how much money I'm going to have access to. If I have predictable access, it calms me down emotionally. If I can calm my emotions, that means that I'm not going to be stressed out. And if I have emotional calm in my life, that equals better decision making. Are y'all getting what I'm putting down? Because better decision making leads to a lifestyle of freedom. So that mind shift that we're talking about is a whole transformation. Because when you owe a lot, when your bills are upside down, when your car could be repossessed or your house could be repossessed, that all causes chaos in our lives. So we start thinking about the things that we want and how we can reduce our stress one layer at a time. And once you start to unfold that, again, the function, start there. Functional structures give us predictable access. That means I know exactly where I need to go to get it. And when I have the predictable access, I'm a lot calmer. Emotionally, internally, I'm calmer. And if I can create emotional calm, I'll make better decisions just because I'm calm. The chaos is gone away. It's gone. And when I make better decisions, I really am living a lifestyle that's free. I'm freer than most people around. It's amazing that when you start thinking this way, how much your mind is shifted from the norm. Because income at that point is optional when structure is intentional. So we do a lot of talking about that here in Lifestyle Focus Wealth. That's the primary goal in our life, is to shift you from an income minded person to a structure minded person and intentionally feeding your structure. Because I know if I can help you get to a point where you're continuously feeding, intentionally feeding the structure, your outcome is going to be predictable, right? Because I know, I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. That income becomes optional at that point. And how many of you out there could enjoy having the option to make more income? See, freedom isn't earned, it's engineered. And you've heard me say it. But sometimes you hear me say certain things and you're not breaking it down. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Don't pass over it. Everything that comes out of my mouth is intentional. And I want to make sure that you can start hearing it a different way. That so that when you hear it, you can say, aha, I know what RJ's talking about, right? Earlier in the program, we were talking about the hustle culture, right? And how it's a trap. The storage culture is an upgrade. So if you're coming from a hustle culture, I understand why this can be difficult for you to understand. Because you're probably going to be asking questions from point where you are to point where we're going, but you're not paying attention to the destination in between. A lot of us, when we take a trip, if I was going to go from here to Miami, Florida, you're probably thinking about, I can't wait to get to Miami, from Atlanta to Miami. Well, what about the journey? What about all this in between that trip and the landing spot, the end destination? There was a lot that happened. I had to go to the airport. I stood in line. I met some people at the airport standing in line. I sat down and I fellowshiped with someone in a chair on the airplane. I got there. I had to get a rent-a-car. There's a lot of things that go on in the life of getting to where you want to go. All we're wanting to do now is start giving you the opportunity to slow down. Give you the opportunity to be present. If you're always hustling, you're never having the time to just be present. And when you have the ability to be present, because you know that you have access to your stored capital, which takes the stress away from you. This is where you flip the table of traditional thinking on its head. The hustle culture burns energy. It really does. That's why you can see people who actually have more going to the gym in the middle of the day. They got energy to burn. So storage culture builds leverage. That means I got options. I don't just have one. I got several options of how I can accomplish these goals. And then the hustle, you start to see hustling as linear. You start to see hustling as a one direction, right? We don't want that. We don't want that. Because when you start to store, storage is exponential. It's got more room. It's got I want you to understand it so badly. Because a lot of you, you're searching for the Easter egg and it's right there in front of you. The golden egg is right there in front of you. All you got to do is reach down and pick it up. It's all just a mind shift. Because once you stop when you stop thinking about the hustle culture, and that you start saying to yourself, I don't want to hustle that hard. Because the wealthy don't hustle harder. They store smarter. They put every dollar into storage. Hustle is survival mode. Storage is strategy. That's where we're at. We want to make sure that your strategy is different. We want to make sure that stored wealth creates calm and leverage and lifestyle for you. So when I tie in the emotional anchor to what we do as financial professionals and experts, when we really are sitting down with you one-on-one, or even with our groups, and we start breaking down that calm comes from knowing you have access. It's almost like jumping in the pool for the first time and your parent was in the water ready to catch you. You'll see a little kid, they're nervous at first, but they know mom and dad ain't going to let them drown, so they jump off into the pool. They know they're calm enough to calm their nerves down so that they can emotionally gather themselves and jump right into the water. Because they know they have access to mom and dad in the water. See, leverage comes from stored value. You can only get this stored value by allowing yourself to leverage more and more. But you got to start today. Every day is important. Lifestyle comes from predictable access. So whatever you're wanting to live on, however you're hanging out this weekend, there's people who are doing things. And you wonder, how do they get to do that? They make less than me. But they get to go on vacations. They get to spend their lifetime doing things that I wish I could do. Well, guess what? You can do it. You can do it too. Because stored wealth also equals stored confidence. Because if I know that I'm sitting on, 6 figures of stored capital somewhere, I know that it's going to earn something. I know that I put it somewhere where it can earn something. And in the future, you don't need more money. What I need is more storage. When you start telling yourself, I don't need another job, I need more storage. If you can start storing right now, every single dollar, store it. Stop giving it away. Because when you start to really think about it, the bigger and the bigger your stack gets to, and the more storage that you have, the calmer you get. And the calm is the true flex. It's really what we're wanting to flex a little bit, but we can't go from point A to the end result overnight. We gotta put some money in to our storage on the journey between A and C. You can't just do it. You got to put something in besides effort, right? So when we're talking about wealthy, I don't want you to start saving. I think you should take that out of your vocabulary. If you're part of our lifestyle focused wealth community, I want you to take that out of our vocabulary. No more saving. We're not saving anymore. Tell your friends you're no longer going to save money. And just be quiet for just a second and watch their face. We don't want you saving any more money. Tell them Ronco said that. Tell them Ronco wants you to store more money. Because saving is outdated. Storage is strategic. So if you can start thinking about what I'm saying to you, savings, it loses value to inflation. You got a dollar bill that is not worth a dollar bill anymore. Storage grows value and access. $1 turns into $4 more. $4 turns into $9 more. And I don't need but $2. So I go access the 2 that I need, giving me $7 left over. Savings is passive. And storage is active. It's always moving. So when you understand this breakdown, you start to ask yourself, if savings is for safety, storage is for freedom. I need to focus on freedom. I want to focus on financial freedom. I want to focus on emotional freedom. I want to have the time to work on my physical appearance, my physical health, but I have to have freedom. I have to have time away from chasing the dollar at work. I need predictable outcomes that would allow me to know all the things that I'm worried about are no longer things to worry about. The savings is a bucket. A very small bucket. It doesn't take much for that bucket to turn over. But when you start focusing on storage, that's a reservoir. It's a big difference. That's a big difference. So why am I really digging in on this conversation today? Because I really want you guys to be figuring out that structure creates the stability that you're looking for. This is the very foundation of your entire brand. Because when you start to think about what do I want my brand and what do I want it to be known for. The structure organizes all the chaos in the world. It gets rid of all that for you. The structure protects the assets that are inside the organization that you create. The structure creates predictable access. And then the structure also builds confidence in you. Once you start to figure that out, you'll start to move differently. And here's the mind shift right behind it, because stability isn't emotional, but the architecture behind it is. It's architectural. It's engineering. It's by design. Your life is only as stable as the structure beneath it. So once we start to understand, wait a minute, I'm really not sitting on nothing. That's when the uh-oh happens. It's like looking at the floor and seeing the endless pit. Think about it. You're walking outside today and you can see the pavement in front of you. Imagine what happens if all the pavement around you collapsed and you were stuck on this one piece of land that you were standing on. How would you feel if everything around you collapsed? Right up under your feet. It's a powerless feeling, even just to even think about it, just to even have that conversation. So when you know that having access creates the opportunity that you're looking for, and you focus on access, because access is truly the currency of the wealthy. I don't need to get money. I know someone with money. If I got a boat and you got a house, but I want to live in your house and you want to ride on a boat, I have something to exchange. Hey, why don't you let me stay in your house for a week and you can ride on my boat for a week? That's what the wealthy do. So when you start to understand these characteristics, and we have these conversations and these one-on-one discussions and these fireside discussions, and we start to realize that, access lets you move really fast. If you have access, you're in rooms where you can seize opportunities right away. It lets you fund the lifestyle that you want. Sometimes they're funding you just to be a part of the lifestyle. It allows you to stay calm because you're coming home with a check. You're not spending to try to access that information. Right? But we don't talk about that in the media. We really don't talk about that out loud. But it's a very, very true thing. Because opportunity doesn't come from money. It comes from access. There are times where people will buy things, marketing tools, to have access. Let me make sure I throw a good example out there, because if access is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, you just need to be in the room. Give an example. There are people who buy Ferraris, Bentleys, Bugattis, Rolls Royces. Not because they're trying to flaunt how much money they have. They use those items as marketing tools to have access to other people who can appreciate those tools. And those tools put you in rooms where there's people that you really want to be around. It's that bridge to where you want to be. Not because you're a show-off, not because you didn't want to fund it. You start to think about it. The things you want in life and where you want to be, what is the bridge for that? Where does the bridge come? Well, I want to be around smarter, more intelligent people. I need to be able to get in that room. Well, we already know that everyone socializes with people that have common interest. If you like pickleball, go play pickleball. There's going to be people at the pickleball court that will allow you to play pickleball. And from that, you're going to meet some other people that enjoy pickleball too. And guess what? You're probably going to become friends or maybe even acquaintances. And then business can take off from there if it wants to. It's natural. So what I'm saying to you here is lifestyle, number 10 of the 10 of our list of things that we've talked about today, is a lifestyle is a natural byproduct of what you've already put away. Lifestyle itself is not the goal, it's the result. It's the result of you using the leverage and having access, and you're beginning to live out the life that you've seen for yourself. If you're in your early 20s, I hope you're listening to me really closely, because whatever that life you see for yourself, if you go ahead and put the time in today, your lifestyle merges from the structure that you create. Your lifestyle is funded by the access of the people that you're around. Your lifestyle is sustained by the storage that you've been able to put things away for over a period of time. Your lifestyle that you're going to live in the future is the reward from the alignment that you've had in the past. So if you can shift your mindset now, don't wait till you already made the mistakes to shift it. Go ahead and shift it now. Lifestyle is not something that you chase. It's something that you build into your system. You build it into your system. Because lifestyle is the echo of your structure. Hello, 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 hello. It continues. It really does. It keeps you going. I hope that I'm driving this home for you today, because we're having these discussions and we don't even know it sometimes. We don't even know it sometimes. And it's always intriguing when you sit back and you get to listen to other people as they're going through their breakdown. You can start to just sit back and listen, and you can hear the fear in their voice. And when you understand fear comes from fragility, this is where we speak to your emotional pain. Because fear is a signal of instability. Instability comes from a lack of structure. And once you start to really think about it, structure removes that fragile feeling. It removes that fear all in one swoop. The mindset shift is totally different. And when you see it, you'll be able to recognize it, because fear itself isn't emotional. It's architectural. Once again, you can design it. You can engineer it. You can choose to make a decision to have fear or move without it. Because when you have structure, fear fades. Structure is still standing. And when you think about it that way, you have to ask yourself, I've been looking at this stuff the wrong way. I've been focusing on doing the things that weren't designed to stand for generations beyond my lifetime. And then you start thinking, hey, wait a minute. If structure is going to remove that fragile feeling from my life and it replaces it with predictability, guess what? Now I'm a dependable person. I can predictably say, This is the real luxury. I know exactly where I'm going. I can predict what's going to happen. The predictability creates a peace. It creates a confidence. It creates a lifestyle. It also creates a freedom. I like talking about mindset shifts because predictability is one of those things that is the foundation of freedom. It's not money, you guys. It's money that we talk about. That's the bridge that, of course, we most people think that we're talking about money, but really we're talking about the structure that leads to predictable outcomes that will allow you to do what you need to do with your money. And all we need to do is store the money so that we can have peace, confidence, and a lifestyle with freedom. That's all. Predictability is quite a luxury at that point, that you can have these private conversations and you'll find that no one's talking about it. I think that's interesting. I really do. I think that's interesting. I think that's the interesting part of it, where we find out that nobody is talking about it, right? So when your assets fund your lifestyle, spending becomes strategic. It's the part that makes people just lean in. Because when your spending becomes intentional and your spending becomes aligned with what the goal is, spending becomes sustainable. Yes, we're not telling you not to go buy anything in your world. Spending becomes empowering because you can have the things that you want. The mind shift that it creates is that you don't need to stop spending, but you need to start with structuring. This is so important. This is so important. Spending isn't the problem. Your structure is the solution. So if we can talk to you more and more about building these structures and you can have them the way that you need them, then you do earn the right to reward yourself. But lifestyle itself is not the reward, it's the system. Lifestyle is a system that you created. And at the core of your lifestyle focused wealth philosophy that we share here at Lifestyle Focused Wealth is that if your lifestyle is engineered, if it's funded, if it's structured, and it's predictable, then your mind is going to completely shift and you're going to understand that lifestyle itself was never the finish line. It was the framework. So you start to say, wait a minute, I'm not trying to get to a lifestyle. I need to start my lifestyle now as the framework. Because lifestyle, once again, is not earned, it's installed. You install it. You functionally start focusing on making good decisions every single day. And just like interest, compound good decisions over and over and over again. And that's how we're installing this lifestyle. So number 15 of the day is I want you to really focus on your life being funded by assets, not your effort. This is the dream everyone wants, but don't know how to get to it. They can't articulate it. Your effort is only limited. It's limited. Your assets are unlimited. You can find assets that will continue to provide. Your effort it's drained. You can drain your efforts, right? But your assets sustain. Your lifestyle should not depend on your labor. This is what I'm getting at, folks. I hope you're able to understand where we are, because your assets should be working harder. And you should want them to work harder than you ever would. And I think it's perfectly okay to say, hey, well, I can engineer my freedom. If we're going to engineer freedom, we need to do it starting today. It's not earned, it's engineered. Freedom is engineered. It's the final punch. So if I can get you to understand this, we've talked a lot about it today. And I know that I've repeated myself on purpose in hopes that somebody out here gets it. Freedom is the structural. Freedom is the predictable. Freedom is the designed. And freedom is also the intentional. So when you know that you're going to get those four, freedom is not a dream at that point. It's the blueprint. It's the fantasy. It's a formula. That's what freedom is. Freedom isn't a fantasy. It's the formula. So what's your next move? What's your next move? I'm hoping that what we've talked about today has been able to help you get to the point where you're seeing things a lot differently. And you can start to see how you can be a wealthy-minded person and stop buying stuff. Instead, start buying your freedom. And we start focusing on those things, right? That's all we want. All we want is for you to start to focus on these things. Focus on the matters that you really want, all right? Because most people, like I said, they spend their entire lives chasing the lifestyle, but they're never taught how to build it. They hustle, they grind, they even sacrifice, but they never stop to ask the real question. What if lifestyle isn't something that you earn? What if something that I can engineer and I can create this lifestyle for myself? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself this question? So when you understand the lifestyle focused equation or the lifestyle equation, structure, access, lifestyle, you stop living. You stop living in reaction mode. You start living in design mode. You stop surviving and you start shaping. You stop hoping and you start building, engineering, and designing and architecting. Right? Freedom isn't a fantasy. We need to stop thinking that way. Freedom is a formula. And once you see the formula, you can't unsee it. You deserve a life that feels aligned, funded, and free. A life where your assets work harder than you ever will. A life where your structure protects you, where your access empowers you, and where your lifestyle reflects the person that you're going to be and who you were meant to become. That's what we're focusing on. So a lot of our young people, they're trying to figure it out. Well, I'll tell you what, suppose you had the roadmap so you didn't have to figure it out. Maybe we're giving you the information right now where you don't have to figure so much out. All you have to do is carry it out. All you have to do is execute. And the truth is really simple. You're not that far away. You're one structure away, one decision away, one moment of clarity away. So the only question that's left is, now that you know the formula, and I've shared it with you, what are you going to do to build next? And what are you going to build next? What do you want to build next? What do you want to build next? These are the things that we want you to be thinking about. Hopefully, that if you've enjoyed our conversation today, today's been a deep one. Today's been a deep one. If you've enjoyed our conversation today, put it in the comments and just remember, I want you to comment, send me a DM, send me a message, and let me know how this is landing with you this week. Because when we start to really peel this onion back, we start to find that life doesn't have to be that hard, right? So stick around just for a moment. Closing remarks right after this. At L.R. Johnson and Associates, Inc., life insurance was never designed just for when you die. It was designed to protect the life you're building while you're alive. Using our lifestyle-focused design strategies, we know real wealth is not just about numbers on a statement. It's about having more time and freedom for meaningful experiences with your family, business, and legacy. That is the heart of lifestyle-focused wealth philosophy. Designing your money around how you actually want to live, who you want to protect, and what you want to leave behind. When lights out moments happen in life, your family should not be forced to struggle, sell assets, start over, or sacrifice the future you worked so hard to create. The wealthy understand this. They do not look at life insurance as just another bill. They look at it as a family banking strategy, a tool for protection, a tool for leverage, a tool for preserving wealth and positioning the next generation to move forward with strength. Because you work too hard to leave your income, your family, and your future exposed to chance. Life insurance, when structured the right way, becomes more than a policy. It becomes love in action. It becomes leadership. It becomes a promise that the people who depend on you will be protected no matter what. This is about taking control today so tomorrow is not left uncertain. Protect your income. Protect your family. Protect your future. Because life insurance is not just about a policy. It is about the lifestyle you protect and the legacy you leave. Follow L.R. Johnson and Associates, Inc., licensed insurance professionals for more lifestyle-focused wealth strategies. Contact our office to schedule a one-on-one session with our financial professionals today. Hey, so listen, I'm Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle-focused wealth coach. I just wanted to go ahead and tell you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Just remember this. If you're ready to stop surviving and start designing your lifestyle, I'm going to ask you to join me inside our Lifestyle Focused Wealth Masterclass. And I'm going to be walking you through step by step, as we do here on Fridays, but more in depth, so that you can get the same blueprint where the wealthy use to store wealth, and how they access capital, and how they engineer the lifestyle that pays for itself. Because smart money isn't fast money. It's focused money. So I want you to tap the link below, schedule some time, gather a one-on-one with me, and let's talk about it. Secure your spot. It's your spot. Let's build life together and help you build something that you were designed to live that way. You deserve it. You deserve to be able to live the life you're thinking about, dreaming about. All you got to do is put one step in front of the other and start moving and chasing your dreams. Hey, that's my time today. I'm Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused wealth coach. I hope this has been an inspiring message, and I look forward to seeing you at the top and catching you back here next Friday, 1 o'clock, as usual. And I look forward to seeing you then. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Be well.